So, I raised my hand in class, puzzled by what I had just heard. But didn't God create the world 6,000 years ago? That was me in 5th grade. Growing up in a Christian sect made sure I had a few beliefs that was in conflict with basic facts like dinosaurs actually existed. In my late teens, a lot of peers started challenging me on my views about the age of the Earth, so I had to find out for myself. I went home and Googled something to the effect of evolution is a lie. This is known as the confirmation bias. Our brain's automatic tendency to only look for information which we already agree with. This is why most people never buy books with opposing viewpoints. So, no one seems to agree on how many there are, but on Wikipedia they have a list of 166 ways our brains make us think in rather illogical ways. We call them cognitive biases. And we all have them. Except you, of course. You're not like me. You're always rational. As a matter of fact, this talk is not even for you, it's for literally everyone else. So, most philosophers used to think that we were fundamentally rational. But today it's a different story. Especially the work in social science by Jonathan Haidt and Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman suggests we make up all our opinions on an instinctual, emotional level first and then try to justify them rationally after the fact. So let me explain with an example. Let's say you're on a diet, and then suddenly you really feel like eating ice cream. Chances are your brain will help you find a few pretty good reasons you can have just a tiny bit of ice cream. The problem appears when you think you're being rational, but in reality you have already decided on an emotional level that you would like some ice cream. And at this point you're just trying to make yourself feel better. So picture it like this. You are like a judge in a courtroom. The voice in your head is like a prosecutor. In this case, the judge really wants some ice cream, so the prosecutor gives the judge all the reasons he can have just a little bit of ice cream. And the judge decides to eat the ice cream, thinking that he made a pretty rational choice. And we do stupid stuff like this all the time. But a lot of the time, how we're wired to act is not in line with basic moral principles. In and outgroup bias makes us divide people into groups. Friends, enemies. These groups can be based on ethnicity, religion, political affiliation, nationality. And at our very worst, outgroup bias makes us treat people from other groups as less human than us and more like animals. Can you imagine the consequences of unknowingly dehumanizing people while simultaneously believing you're a good, rational person? You don't have to, because they're all throughout history. Most Southern Americans used to be fine with slavery. Most Germans loved Hitler. So, how do you know for sure that you're not in any way on the wrong side of history, and when the majority have been for as long as we can remember? These are big issues. So, how do we solve them? Critical thinking So, as you know, I've believed in a lot of insane stuff. Quite obviously. Actually, after leaving my religion, I started mindlessly accepting outlandish conspiracy theories, like the one where the world is secretly run by interdimensional lizards. Yeah! I was that guy. But that all changed when I started studying philosophy, and I began on a journey of systematically reviewing all my beliefs to eliminate the ones that were false, immoral, or just, plain stupid. But how, because it feels like I've come quite a long way, but how do I know? Let's again revisit the court case metaphor. So you are the judge. The voice in your head is the prosecutor. What's missing? In an actual court, they have a third person called the defendant. Her job is to argue with the prosecutor. Why? Because they know people can be falsely prosecuted if the judge only hears one side of the case. And to me, the essence of critical thinking is just that. To argue with yourself. So, for example, the next time you are on a diet and you would really like some ice cream, just tell yourself all the reasons you shouldn't have that ice cream, and probably you'll end up doing a better choice. And during the next week, you'll probably stumble over some stupid opinion you totally disagree with, but instead of doing what you're wired to do, I want you to do the opposite. Know that almost every opinion has been stupid at one point, so try to disprove yourself. Because you might not be right about everything. So, why is this important? It's easy to see everyone else's mistakes. Not so easy to view your own mistakes objectively. Critical thinking is a great solution for that problem. It will definitely help you with decision-making in the most important areas of your life, like money, health, career, relationships. But most importantly, I believe this is the next step in human evolution. We have learned more about the brain for the last 10 years than through all of history combined. And it seems that even though we're definitely smarter than apes, we don't always behave that way. They form tribes and fight each other. We divide ourselves up into fictitious groups based on nationality, ethnicity, political affiliation, and, fight each other. But we have the ability to overpower our animalistic instincts with reasoning. And going into this new digital age, I believe it is essential that we do it. We're facing a ton of challenges, and we might disagree on what they are. But my big promise is that implementing this idea will make both naming and solving all of these problems a lot easier. So let's do it. Let us override our instincts in order to become better human beings. It is essential if we want to create a better tomorrow. Thank you.